The lower classes collectively compose of about 55% of the United States population. There are two lower classes, right? Based on wealth, the upper lower and the lower. Furthermore, the lowest level, the lower class, is divided into two sets itself. So let's start up here with the upper lower. The upper lower class composes about 30% of the United States population, and their nickname is the working class. Their incomes range from $12,000 to $50,000. They tend to be higher paid clerical and blue collar workers, so higher paid for those professions, and have an average education that is a high school or community college degree. These jobs are very insecure, so the working class value and strive for security, and usually this kind of security is only achieved through labor unions. They may own their home in a working class neighborhood. They tend to have little savings and no or insufficient retirement accounts. Saving for the working class is a slow and difficult and tedious process. Most of their savings end up being for leisure time items such as TV sets, hunting equipment, and camping trailers. The lower class, like the upper, way up at the top, is composed of two inner sets, but that is where the similarities end. The nickname of the first of the inner sets is the working poor. So we're right here, right? The working poor compose of 13% of the US population. They tend to be service workers, for instance, in restaurants and laundromats and many other service industries, and lower paid clerical and lower paid blue collar. The average education is some high school, and they tend to live in neighborhoods with health and crime problems that are related to poverty. They usually rent and often work more than one job. They do not tend to be involved in their communities and live a paycheck to paycheck existence, so basically no retirement accounts. They tend to spend their entire paychecks on the basics, in other words, groceries and rent. The second category of the lower class is composed of about 12% of the United States population, and their nickname is the rock bottom. They are unemployed, uneducated, and unskilled. They are often homeless and or disabled and reliant on government programs. They have virtually no chance of moving upward, and they live a day-to-day existence as opposed to a paycheck-to-paycheck existence. So which class do you think spends the lowest percentage of its wealth? The answer is the upper class. Which class do you think spends the highest percentage of its wealth? And that would be the lower class. Arrange the classes by who you think pays the highest percentage of their wealth in taxes to the least. The one who presumably spends the highest percentage of their wealth in taxes would be the highest of the lower classes, upper, lower, believe it or not. And that is because they have very few deductions, so usually they can only take the standard deduction. The lower middle would come next because they have some deductions. And probably next would be the upper middle. So we've got the upper lower, the lower middle, and now the upper middle. Because of the fact that they fill out long forms, they have a lot of deductions. Fourth, we have the upper. Most, if not all, of their money is investments, so they generally pay only 15%. In fact, Warren Buffett noted that his secretary pays close to 30% while he pays 15%. And then finally, at the bottom, we have the lower because Some of them make nothing to pay taxes on.